Hello, hello. Welcome to another episode of Building a Leadership Mindset podcast. I'm your host, Nikki C., all the way from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I am super excited because this is the first time that I have a dual guest for you, and we are super excited to bring them on here. Met them through the Connected Leaders Academy, and it has been a pleasure to just know what they're doing, and I'm super happy to bring their story, their journey, and what they're doing to the Baum family. So first, let's thank our sponsors. Thank you so much to Carolyn Bob Green for your continued support with Building a Leadership Mindset podcast as our lead sponsor for this platform. And she is the CEO and founder of Training You to Succeed, the Passionpreneur community. Thank you so much to Top Fox, Breathe Capital Planning, and of course, our ladies of leadership. So without further ado, let me get their bio up here. And this is a power duo I met, and their name is Meredith and Craig. They're former corporate ninjas turned badass entrepreneurs left behind the unfulfilling 9-to-5 corporate grind when the company they both worked for closed their office and wanted them to move across the country. Harnessing the secret weapon, their rock-solid marriage, these adventure-seeking nomads help couples reignite joy, fun, and connection so they can transform their relationships into their secret weapons. Let's see, I think I lost my secret weapon for building extraordinary lives together. As coaches, authors, international speakers, and co-hosts of the Road of Life podcast, they bring a unique and authentic mix of humor, empathy, and a dash of tough love to take relationships from surviving to thriving while having a whole lot of fun in the process. Unconventional but effective, they get no greater joy than watching their clients reconnect, become a true team, and crush life together. Without further ado, let's bring up Meredith and Greg. Let's add them to the stage here. Hello, hello. How are you?
Hello. Happy to be here.
Super excited to be here. Good to see you, Nikki.
We are happy to have Yes, thank you so much. I know we had a little bit of a glitch there, but we are here. We are excited. Where are you tuning in from today?
We are calling in from Calgary, Alberta, Canada today.
Yeah. Nomadic lifestyle.
Yeah.
We're normally in Prince Edward Island.
Nice. And I know there's a little bit of delay, but we are going to make this work. Maybe if I close this out here, maybe that'll work. Let me just close some things. Just want to make sure we get the goods that you guys have to offer, because I know I had a great conversation. It looks like when we first connected, I was actually speaking on this CLA platform, talking about my big yes and, you know, how my life changed when I stepped into the obedience of really following my calling. And, you know, just knowing that you had just came into the Connected Leaders Academy, being with them for myself, being with them for a couple of years, we've actually built this podcast brand on our CLA family and others outside the group. So we are so good. Tell us a little bit about your journey of, you know, just corporate. How was that prior to you leaving, prior to you guys making that decision? What field industries did you work in? And what were some of the challenges?
Well, we actually worked for the same company. We worked in the energy industry in Canada for a multinational company. And we were really good at it, to be honest. Like that was the life that we were sort of conditioned to live, that we were both brought up to go to school, get good grades, get a good job, get promotion, save for retirement, eventually at some point get to live the good life before you die. That was the default life plan that we were on, and we were checking all the boxes. Like we were having success with that life plan on paper. But there was something missing for both of us. We were feeling unfulfilled in that corporate world, kind of like you're beating your head against the wall sometimes, like not really spinning your wheels, but not really getting anywhere, and feeling like you had something more to contribute to the world than you could do sort of in that container. And then our company offered us a giant opportunity that in the moment we saw as a humongous stressor. They were closing our office and we could either move across the country or we could leave. And it was a super stressful decision because it was all we'd ever known. Like if we left that life, it was all we'd ever known, and where our identity was all tied to and our success. And then my dad got cancer. We thought it would be his last Christmas. It wasn't. We got 4 more years with him, but that was the perspective we needed to be able to make the decision. We didn't want to move further from our friends and family. Like Craig's grandmother's not getting any younger. Our parents aren't getting any younger. The people we love live on one side of the country. We decided we didn't want to move. And even though we didn't exactly know what we were going to do, we knew that this was the right decision. And for a couple of pretty type A planners, that was super stressful because we didn't have a plan. We were just going to jump out of the corporate airplane and hope we could build a parachute on the way down.
That is so awesome. Craig, share a little bit about your journey. Meredith, you totally nailed that as far as just, what are the true decisions when these life changes comes up in our lives, and, which direction do we want to go? Craig, what was your perspective going through this as well?
Yeah, so when you join the corporate world, it's new and exciting. And so, at first it was like, okay, I'm gonna absorb all this. I'm gonna learn from all these people. I'm gonna climb the corporate ladder. I'm gonna get all the bonuses and the promotions, and I'm gonna have this great career. And as you get into it, you realize, or I did, is that I'm not sure this is for me. Like I was doing the things, but I wasn't feeling fulfilled. I wasn't happy going in every day, sitting in a office or a cubicle or wherever I happened to be and doing the same type of work every day. It just felt like over time there was a calling for me, that there's more to this life than what you're doing right now. Mm-hmm. And it was just super unfulfilling. And I was really living for the weekends. Like I would put in the time Monday to Friday just to survive to Saturday and Sunday. And then, it would just be, trying to recover and recharge so that I could do it all again the next week. And I started to realize that this isn't for me. And then when I was in these jobs, I want something different. So I kept chasing the next job, the next opportunity. And then I would get in that opportunity and it would be more of the same. And then I started to realize that it's not the job. It's the life that I've chosen here. It's not meant for me. It's not landing. It's not making me happy or fulfilled. I don't enjoy what I'm doing. And then, so to Mayor's point, when we were offered this opportunity, the company's like, yeah, well, we're closing this office and you can continue to do what you're doing from a different office further away from all the people that you love. And you can do all the things that you don't like doing and still get that consistent paycheck, if you will, and live in comfort-ish. You can do that. Or here's a flashing sign that says exit here. You can go and do something else. Go and find out what is your true calling. What is going to be the gift that you give the world and make you feel more fulfilled, like you're giving back to the world. Here's your opportunity. And at first, that opportunity is super scary because, to her point, it's all we'd ever known. And it's comfortable. It's, even though you feel unfulfilled, it's what you know. And there is a certain level of comfort with that. And as humans, we're wired for comfort. So It was definitely a tough decision, but to her point, when her dad got cancer, it really put into focus what's important to us. And it's really about being able to create the freedom that we've always wanted, to be able to do the things we love with those we love whenever we want, and to be able to give something back to the world. We just didn't feel like we were doing that in the corporate life.
Beautiful. I love the analogy of the flashing light really guiding you to say, hey, wait, something's wrong here. Something's wrong here. It's time to kind of step back, reevaluate, take inventory of just the lifestyle that you two were looking for. So let me know about let the audience know about the conversation when you guys decided to become a unit and say, hey, this is what we're going to do, and tell us what is it that you do, and what brought that idea to your coaching.
Yeah. So when we first decided we were leaving, we had no idea what. It's one of those things where it just felt like the right thing to do. Like, we knew we were unfulfilled in what we didn't want, which was the life we had created and the thing, the career. We knew that was not the path for us, but we still didn't quite yet know what the path for us was. And so it was a little bit of trial and error. The conversation immediately after, we were given the opportunity to make a big decision was, are we going to do this? Are we sure? Is this really what we're going to do? Are we going to jump out of a plane with no parachute? And I really don't know how to build a parachute. Are we going to do this? And so that was initially the conversation was, yeah, I think we're gonna take a risk here, and we're gonna jump out of a parachute and learn how to build one on the way down. And that's crazy, but I think that's what we're gonna do. So that was the initial conversation. It was, this is what we don't want. We are not quite yet sure what we do want, but we'll figure that out on the way. And so we did.
Yeah, we made a lot of mistakes along the way. The first thing we did when we decided
that is a huge understatement. We made a ton of mistakes. A ton of mistakes. My gosh. Continue to do so, but it's all part of the journey.
Yeah. The first thing we did really was research. Like, how are we going to replace our corporate income? Like, we got to do that like right now. What are we going to do? And we read a stat somewhere along the way that 90% of millionaires make their money in real estate. So that seemed like a good idea.
See, it's funny because we knew what we didn't want, and then we jump into, we have to replace this income that we're losing, this scarcity rising in us. But yet we still haven't done the work yet to really understand what it is we want. We just are really focused on replacing lost income at this point.
So that business failed miserably very quickly because we were both really miserable, which we didn't realize we were both miserable at first because we were just kind of getting a little snippy with each other, which was really outside of the norm for us. We'd been super intentional to this point about creating a really solid relationship. And then we were starting to feel like there were some cracks in that. And finally, we had a really uncomfortable conversation and discovered that we were both miserable in this real estate business that we had started. And we decided it was us over everything. So close the real estate business. That's when we learned the first time, and I say the first time because we had to learn it multiple times after this, that we were chasing money. We started a real estate company to chase money. And what happens when you chase, well, anything? It runs away. You never really catch it. So we decided to stop chasing money and start focusing on who are we now? Because we were both kind of suffering with an identity crisis coming out of our corporate world where our whole identity was tied to our success and our promotions and all those things. And without those, who are we? Didn't know who we were, didn't know who we wanted to be, didn't know what we wanted to offer the world, didn't know any of those, didn't know what we wanted our life to look like. So we had to jump into that work first. And it was on that journey that we started going to different personal growth events, and people started just coming up and asking like, oh, hey, you guys are here together. That's really cool. I can't get my wife to come. I can't get my husband to come. How do you do this together? And we just started talking to strangers basically. And then finally at one of the events, the guy that was hosting the event said, I want you guys to speak on stage at my next event about relationships. And we were like, who, us? Really? Which was another terrifying sort of inflection point in our journey that we've never been on stage before. This guy seems to trust us, but we don't really trust ourselves yet. So we're just going to borrow his trust in us and come up with something to say about relationships. And that talk ended up being the seed of everything that we've created. We really leaned in. We always knew our relationship was our superpower. we did not know it was going to be the superpower that we helped offer everyone else in the world. So that talk really became the seed of everything else. Everything we built started with that one talk.
Chills. I love that you guys were highly aware. First of all, thank you for your vulnerability. Thank you for breaking it down to us like that you guys were aware that there were cracks starting to, stumble around your relationship when you guys were feeling miserable. And sometimes, that short silence of us not sharing with each other as, couples, that can hinder. But I love that you recognize that and you put that back together, and that someone's seen, because again, if we're not, and then you mentioned about, your identity and finding that and joining personal development conferences and really absorbing the information so you find your voice, your true calling. What is it that you both were meant to be doing, and how are you being a part of the change that the world needs, right? So you guys were very intentional. And I love that when I first spoke with you guys on our one-on-two call, it was just awesome understanding that. And I know I shared that, my spouse, is total opposite of, what I do and who I am and how I want to show up, supportive, but still not 100% there, right? Because it's not her world. So I love that you guys took that, and you guys took that on the stage. So tell me what led after. So now you're on stage, now you're putting everything together. Things are falling into place. What comes after that?
So that became the seed of everything we created. So we're relationship coaches, and that first talk, because our relationship had always been our superpower, and people had always asked us kind of off the cuff or ad hoc, like, what is it that you guys do? Like, you seem to have a cool relationship. Like, walk me through how you have that. I want that for my spouse, with my spouse. And we didn't really have it. We've never done the work prior to really, codify that, document that, or have a process. We just always did what we did. And then when we were asked to do this talk, we really had to put in place, what are the things that we believe about relationships that we do consistently that has catapulted our relationship to where it is. And so we really had to codify what we do. And so that talk was the seed of that. And then from there, we've built coaching programs, and we're writing a book right now. Literally, I was writing it just before this. We're writing a book to really codify and get it to more people. But we're relationship coaches, and we have a very interesting philosophy on relationships that we think can help a lot of people. And so that talk was kind of the seed of all of that.
And while we tend to focus most on marriage, and especially marriages that involve entrepreneurs, because it's hard to be an entrepreneur, especially if you're not even, when you're both entrepreneurs, it's hard. When one of you is an entrepreneur and one of you isn't, it's hard. Entrepreneurship and marriage is just a tough combination. And so we spend a lot of time supporting and equipping entrepreneurs in their marriage. But our mastermind is the Infinite Relationship Mastermind, because the skills that strengthen your marriage work in every relationship, your business partnerships, like your mother, your daughter, all the important relationships in your life. It's the same skills. It can be easier to practice and implement them with your spouse, but they're the same skills in every important relationship in your life. So that's why we launched our relationship mastermind as Infinite Relationship Mastermind. We're helping your relationship with relationships so that you can apply these skills in any important relationship in your life and level up every important relationship.
I love that. What is your number one go-to just mantra that really supports everything that you're doing for your clients?
The team.
Yeah, there's a heavy influence on. We're both huge sports fans. I have been since we were kids. And one of the main underlying themes of our coaching is that when you join forces, you are a team. Like you go through life and it's a solo journey, but when you join forces with someone, you now become a team, and it's all about the team. So sometimes you'll come into a decision point where it's what's best for me or what's best for us. And in a relationship, you want to choose what's best for us. Like what is going to get us to the finish line? What is going to get us to the goal? And it's really about, thinking like a really good teammate.
Because there's 3 entities when you've joined forces, right? There's you, there's your spouse, and then there's the team. And sometimes we try to do what's best for them. Sometimes we try to do what's best for us. But when we do what's best for the team and we put the team first, then the team succeeds. And the team is the foundation for all of it. So we are really big proponents of putting the team first and being a good teammate. And with that, we also strongly believe that fun has become a really underrated part of our lives. Fun and adventure is so important in your relationship. And when we grow up, it's the first thing to go. Like when we get these long to-do lists in our life, right? Like we get these giant to-do lists. We have all these things to do. It's so hard to be a grown-up. We have all these things. Fun seems to fall to the end of the list. And if we put fun back at the beginning of the list, we'd be more willing to engage in the hard conversations and do the difficult things that are required to put the team first.
It's really like when you think about a relationship, you think like, okay, it's a commitment between me and this other person to go do life together. And that's usually what people think about with a relationship, is that there's this one commitment. I'm committed to this. I'm committed to the future, like to this relationship for the rest of our lives, and which is really great. That is a commitment that you have to have, obviously, but we believe that there's actually 5 commitments that you have to focus on to have success. And the first one is that it's marriage. We're taught marriage is 50-50. It's a 50-50 game. And that's just BS. Yeah, it's inaccurate. It's so unsuccessful. Like it that breeds scorekeeping, resentment, defensiveness. A commitment to a 200% mindset is what you have to have in a relationship. If you have 100%, if you take 100% responsibility as an individual for everything in your life, everything in your relationship, and your spouse does the same thing, you now have 200%, a 200% marriage. So that's the first commitment. The second commitment is, as you're going through this journey of life, you're on a solo journey. And we've talked about that a little bit. As you join forces with someone, you're going through life with someone, you're still on a solo journey. Life is a solo journey. You join forces and do it with someone, but at the end of the day, you have to have a commitment to yourself. You have to understand your needs. You have to recharge. You have to make sure that you're taking care of because whatever you have is what you can give. And you can only love and respect others to the degree you have it for yourself. So that's the second commitment.
The third commitment is what you already said, the commitment to the team, to the teammate, to the relationship.
Yeah.
The fourth commitment is the commitment to fun and adventure, like we talked about. When you think about the last time you had fun with your spouse, probably the conversation was flowing, you were feeling very connected, the trust was high. All the other important parts of your relationship are locked in when you're having fun. And then the fifth commitment is the commitment to the future. Like you need to have a North Star. Like that's the thing we were missing when we first started this journey. We did not know where we were going. We did not know what our North Star was, that thing that we were both working towards together that puts you on the same team, like in the same boat, rowing in the same direction to get to these, dreams that you have together. So those are our five commitments to a successful relationship.
Wow, I love them. All 5 of them. Commitment, 200%. Everyone gives 100%. The commitment to yourself, you need that. You're still an individual at the end of the day. You still have your own identity. There's still things that you have to carry on. Also, commitment to the team. I love that. That's so true. Fun and adventure. Like, where has it gone? You know what it is? We're not making time for it. And you guys are helping individuals and couples really find that within their relationship. I think when you have a laugh, a love, just spontaneous, it's just so much different. The experience is so much different, and you get further with that, and you get go towards your North Star, which I absolutely love that fifth commitment. Where are we going through this journey? And the fact that you have, entrepreneurs on this journey and really finding that common balance. I just commend you both for taking on this responsibility. Can you share some challenges? You don't have to share names or anything like that, or just some of like the top 2 challenges that some of the couples that you've helped, what were they missing in these 5 commitments? And I'm sure it's 4 and 5. It's probably a little bit of all of it, but kind of just share a little bit about just 2 experiences with your couples that you helped get to that place of harmony for them.
Yeah, for sure. So you're right. A lot of people lose. Well, as we grow, to Mare's point earlier, as we get into adultship or whatever the word, adulthood, and we have more responsibilities, we lose fun and adventure, our sense of adventure, for sure. Kids have this sense of fun and adventure that adults just don't seem to have. We lose it over time. So for sure, there's a huge focus there. But interestingly enough, recently working with a couple, the first commitment around taking 100% responsibility for everything in your relationship. It still surprises me that, couples will get together and want to have this thriving, successful marriage, but yet still finger point and blame and criticize and not take, because every situation that we create together in a relationship, there's responsibility on both sides. Like if I'm not opening up to someone, like if Mare asks me a question and I'm not opening up with my feelings or my thoughts, then there's probably a reason for that. Maybe she hasn't created the safe space for me to be able to do that. Maybe the track record isn't there that I feel emotionally safe to be able to open up and share those things. And so that's what we found in couples is that, a lot of times it's the man who doesn't want to open up emotionally and share what's going on with them. And a lot of times the woman will say, well, but he doesn't open up. He doesn't share. I can't do anything if he doesn't share. And then we have to ask the question, but like, what's the track record? Have you created a safe enough space for him to be able to feel safe enough to share his thoughts and feelings? Because as men, we're raised to, be strong and not show weakness and to, carry the weight and not show emotion or feelings. And so how have we created that atmosphere or that space for him to be able to feel like he can do that?
And especially with entrepreneurs, right? Entrepreneurs are problem solvers. And so a lot of times the entrepreneur in a relationship doesn't want, and entrepreneurship is hard, like harder than you ever think it's going to be. It takes longer, it costs more, it's harder, all the things. It's way harder than you expect. And so bringing that hard home and talking about that with the non-entrepreneur partner in the relationship is really hard, because as a problem solver, you don't want to bring problems home to someone else. But when you're not sharing what's not going well, what you're afraid of, when you're not sharing the problems that you're experiencing in the business, then your partner knows something's going on. We're meaning-making machines, like as human beings. So when the energy feels off, when I can tell you're not sharing something with me, I'm making up a story about what that actually is. And that story is probably worse than what the reality is. But what that does by not sharing is it puts bricks in a wall between you. And the higher that wall gets, the harder it becomes to kick it over. And so one thing we really work on our entrepreneurship relationships with is that, yes, I know it's scary to share that, like, you don't know how you're going to make payroll this week, or, all those things that happen as an entrepreneur, but you have to bring that stuff home and be able to share that with your partner, because they might not be able to do anything about it, but they need to know what you're dealing with so that they can be the best support for you they can. And so that you're not putting bricks in the wall between you that's going to actually create disconnection and distance between you.
It's funny because I can think back to your original question around, what are some of the issues that you see in with clients regards to the commitments that you have? And I can literally point to all of them. one thing I find a lot of times with spouses is that one spouse will be, one's an entrepreneur, they're out there, they're doing their thing, they're trying to make the business thrive, and then the other person's the focus at home, and they're trying to make sure that the household is taken care of so that that other spouse can go and crush the business side of things. And what we find is that a lot of times that if the spouse at home, they're feeling overwhelmed, they're not able to recharge, they're not actually focused on themselves and being able to make sure that their battery is full, their cup is full, so that they have more to give the family and the other spouse. And so one of the things that we find a lot is that we're not recharging, we're not taking care of ourselves and making sure our cup is full.
Yeah.
So good. This has been absolutely phenomenal so far. We are going to take a break and we're going to come back and see what Meredith and Craig are up to in the second half of this year. Oh my God, I can't believe we're in Q3 already. Like, time is just flying. Last I knew it was January 1st, but let's take a quick break and we'll be right back. That is our Me versus Me. That is our new anthology with Bomb Global Ladies of Leadership. We have 10 authors that's coming this November at our 3-year anniversary. So check out buildingaleadershipmindset.com for that information. But we are here with Meredith and Greg, all the way from Canada, who is sharing their relationship coaching style and what they're doing for the world, how they transferred from corporate to this newfound love life that they have been building. So we are going to continue with that conversation. So what's next? What's currently on your schedule for this year, and how can people connect with you?
So we talked about it a little bit earlier. We're writing a book. So that's a big thing that we're focused on over the next little bit until that book is written. That's going to be a major focus for us. And it's going to be called The 200% Marriage. And we're about probably, I'd say, close to halfway through that. So we're excited that that's going to be something that we launch this year.
Mm-hmm. We actually have our mastermind call coming up in another hour after this is over. So I'd say our mastermind is low key our favorite thing right now. Like, the group that we've created with that mastermind is so community driven and supportive. The way that community shows up for each other on this call, we've become really proud of it and actually really protective of it. So we're making sure that everyone who joins is really sort of the right fit for the group, because we've got a really vulnerable space where people are really going deep and sharing, and we want to maintain that space, that safety for people. So we're really proud of that relationship mastermind at this point. We also have a 12-week group coaching program specifically for marriage, and we do one-on-one / really mostly 2-on-2 private coaching as well.
And the other thing we're really focused on that came up for us several times recently, and actually in our conversation with you, it came up a little bit too, and since then a few times. And so we're really going to put some thought into creating a retreat this year for relationships. So a relationship retreat at some point in the second half of the year is going down. We just have to plan that out and make sure that, we've got that all.
We were just
ironed out.
at an event in Wyoming, and that was our commitment. Like, what's the next thing for us? And we committed to. We're really excited. We've been thinking about it for a while, and have been,
it's one of those things where, like, if the universe keeps like poking you, like our conversation, it came up, and then in several other conversations it has come up. So it's like the universe is whispering to us.
Yeah,
So
it's time to listen before it starts screaming.
Yeah, let's start listening. It's tickling us with a feather. Let's do something about it before it hits us with a hammer.
Yeah.
Yes, I love that. And I'm actually getting chills because I see it. Like, I can literally see like you both in action, just running this workshop in just paradise. I don't know where that looks like or where that is. But I think getting couples out of their normal environment, off of this screen, even if you guys do face-to-face in a conference room or something like that, just taking them out of their comfort zones to really break down those barriers, those walls, and all those things. And I also see you working with couples that are thriving, and just how do they stay connected? Like, once they feel like that bad vibe, they're like, okay, we need to call Meredith and Craig. Something's going on here, type of thing. So I see it for you guys. I can't wait to hear about it. And see where it's going to be. Also had some talk to have you probably hit one of our stages on our tour. So we definitely have to talk about that. But this has been absolutely phenomenal. What are, and I want just I want a response from both of you individually. What are the mindset when going into this relationship coaching? What mindset should a couple be ready for? Like, where should their mindset be when they know that now it's time to really take action and shift what we've been doing all this time? So Meredith, can you tell us first?
I think coming in open and willing to get uncomfortable, because like he said at the beginning, we're human beings. We're wired to be comfortable more than we're wired to be happy, more than we're wired for peace, more than we're wired for anything that we actually want in our life. We're wired for comfort. And so if we're in a relationship that is surviving, not thriving, where you're feeling like roommates, you're walking on eggshells, that's your comfort zone. And getting out of that comfort zone is going to require some discomfort. And we didn't talk about it much in the episode, but being willing to lean into the discomfort is what's going to level you up from where you are. And so when we work together, there's going to be moments of discomfort. Yes, we have a lot of fun, and yes, we promote adventure, and yes, there's lots of teamwork and lots of good fun stuff to do, but there's also going to be moments of discomfort. And coming in willing to lean into that discomfort and do what it takes to get out of this situation that you've created for yourself is going to take the willingness to lean into that discomfort for sure.
Awesome. Before you mention Craig, because I know Meredith stated that we didn't get to talk about that. Let's talk about some uncomfortable things that you guys witnessed, or topics that you guys, can you hone in on that a little bit? Just what is that uncomfortable place that you guys witnessed?
Well, so when you go through life on a solo journey and you join forces with someone, you come with some baggage, some stuff, some past traumas, some things that you've carried with you that when you are now addressing someone else, you're in a conversation with someone else, that conversation might trigger something in you, that the way your spouse said something or did something might trigger you in some way, even though it was completely, they didn't mean to do that. But
I have an example.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
So we were out for a hike in Arizona, and he is like a sure-footed billy goat on the side of a mountain. He can just like and run down the side of a mountain. I am not that sure-footed. So he is way ahead of me, and I'm getting really pissed that he's not waiting for me. Like, I'm getting all like on the inside. Like, what is his deal? Can he see I'm not there? Why is he not waiting for me? Even though I know logically he's not going to run down the mountain, get in the truck, drive away, and leave me there.
And to be fair, I literally, I don't know a more capable human in my life. Like I've never once, as I'm doing anything in this life, whether it's going down a mountain or building a business or doing anything, have ever thought that she wasn't right there next to me or right there on my hip. So I didn't know that I was going too fast for her in any way. And the thought never even crossed my mind, to be honest.
So in my frustration, I tried to do something that someone else, Brian Bogert, had told me about, which is trace the feeling in your body. Don't name it. Don't just name it. I'm frustrated. I'm annoyed. Don't name it. But actually, what's the feeling? Like, what's the tightness in your chest or the feeling in your stomach or the starting to sweat, the prickly hand? Like, what are the actual physical sensations that I'm feeling in my body right now? So as I'm going down the mountain and I'm getting real pissed, I'm trying to trace that feeling. And then it just like, boing, like pops into my head. Like, I have a fear of abandonment. And I didn't know that I did. It was not something I was consciously aware of, but when I got really present and grounded in my body, it just literally like a slingshot into my brain that this is what's happening. I didn't tell him that in that moment, but the next day we went for a walk and I felt really nervous and uncomfortable being that vulnerable. Even though I know he's not going anywhere, even though I know he's going to hear that I have a fear of abandonment and take off on me, like I know that's not going to happen, but it's still a really vulnerable thing to share that I didn't even know was inside of me. But I know I need to tell him because I know it's something that I'm going to be dealing with and that I would like his support on, one, by trying not to trigger that for me, and two, when I am triggered, to like lean in and support me on it. So the next day we were out for a walk, which PS is one of the best ways to have an uncomfortable conversation because you're not like staring eyeball to eyeball at someone. It makes it a little easier. So we were just out for a walk along the canal and I'm like, so yesterday I was pretty pissed and this is why I think I was really pissed. And I was scared to share it, but you know, he jumped right in and supported me and we talked through it and he tried to, you know, help me process it and work through it. But the point being, it was a really uncomfortable thing for me to share. That in the end, I felt much better after I share it. But like those 5 seconds of bravery required to start talking are not an easy thing. But Layla Hormozi has a quote that says, "You think having an uncomfortable conversation is hard. Wait till you see the results of not having an uncomfortable conversation." And so when I don't share, if I didn't share that with him and I just continue to be pissed off every time I feel like he's 2 steps ahead of me or doing something where I'm feeling left behind, that resentment builds inside of me and the disconnection and the distance and all the things happen that I don't want to have happen in this relationship, all because I didn't take 5 seconds of being brave and start to tell him what was going on inside of me. So
her fear of abandonment, obviously not her fault. She had a life before me that, you know, things have happened and it's really important that people understand that the things that have happened to you are not your fault, but once you're made aware of them, they do become your responsibility to deal with them, to address them. And so that's kind of, that is the example that we use a lot, is that, you know, that fear of abandonment, obviously not her fault, but her dealing with it in that moment, taking responsibility for it, having an uncomfortable conversation. First of all, having an uncomfortable conversation with herself and sitting with that and understanding where it comes from and what it is and what's happening with her. And then having the uncomfortable conversation with me to let me know that that's what she's dealing with so that I can support her and do my very best to not trigger that, you know, in the future. So those are the types of uncomfortable moments and conversations that we talk about when we're going through this journey. And to be fair, like, and to Mare's point, there's lots of opportunity for fun. We're gonna dive into fun and adventure, but to get where you want to go, you have to do things that you haven't always done in the past. And some of those are, instead of avoiding the discomfort, is leaning into it.
Love it. Thank you so much for that. And Craig, can you please share another mindset that you guys work your clients through?
A big one that has come up recently is, you obviously, if you're coming to a coach for help, there's something that you're not doing or that you don't know that you need support with. So to her point, be open to it, but also we have to drop our ego. We don't always have the answer, and that's okay. But when you go to someone for help and you want their support, allow them to support you, allow them to help you, release some of the control and just be open to letting the ego go and open to the conversation that is going to take you to where you want to go. Ultimately, it's really hard, especially for I speak for, I'm a man, so I'll speak on behalf of other men. Sometimes it's tough for us, ego gets in the way and we want to have all the answers, and it's really vulnerable to ask for help and then to be open to, hearing that what we've been doing has not been working very well and we need to, change some things, and that can bruise the ego a little bit. So
it can bruise our ego too, as women.
For sure. But letting go of the ego and understanding that if I'm here, there's probably a different way, and I should be open to that.
You guys are absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for all of this content. If you are in a relationship, whether entrepreneur, because you guys do help non-entrepreneurs as well, right?
We do.
Entrepreneur or not, having one-sided entrepreneur, double entrepreneur, Meredith and Craig is the relationship couple coaches that you need to connect with. And I know I have your website scrolling down the bottom. That is www.roadoflifecoaching.com. Can you also, and I'm very prone to branding, like I always like to know, how did you come up with your business name? So can you tell us that story really quick?
Yeah, so we're huge, like we love adventure, we're nomadic, and we were on a road trip and we were coming up with the concepts for our business and kind of our coaching, and we just didn't have a name yet. And we were in West Virginia, one of the two. And I was in the shower one day.
He does his best thinking in the shower.
I was in the shower one day.
We all do. And we have no pen or paper.
Yeah. He's like, McKay, get in here.
I yelled out to her and I was like, I think I came up with, what about Road of Life? Road of Life coaching. And so that was kind of the seed. And from there we were like, yeah, but, you're on this life. Life is a journey. It's not a destination. It's kind of like a road trip. And it's
all about who you do it with more than where you're going.
And you're going to hit
the adventure.
You're going to hit traffic. You're going to hit weather. You're going to have all these things, obstacles that come up. And so, yeah, it all made sense for us. So and then, our logo is kind of like the interstate sign, the interstate sign. So it all kind of made sense for us. So that's where we came up with Road of Life.
I love it. Genius. Absolutely. Well, you can connect with them also on Instagram. It is Meredith and Craig. So let me show that here up on the screen. This has been absolutely phenomenal. I can't wait to hear the feedback from our audience and those who watch the show. What are some final tips? And you guys can each go. What are your final tips for our audience? And what is your mission for the rest of 2025?
That's a good one. I mean, our mission, I would say overall, what we've really leaned into is that we're changing the trajectory of families. Like, are you in the relationship that you want your kids to have? Would you be happy that your kid is in the relationship that you're having? And if you're not, now is the time to change that, because your kids are going to learn relationships based on what they see at home. And so you're creating the experience that they're going to seek out as they get older and seek their own relationships. And when you can role model a healthy relationship for your kids, they're going to go out and get a healthy relationship themselves and then create that for their kids and their kids. And so we can break generational trauma and we can change the whole trajectory of families from this point forward.
It's legacy building.
It is legacy building. Yeah, for sure.
What kind of legacy do you want to leave your family?
Mm-hmm.
And that's been a huge one for us this year for sure. And then the tips, I would say, for me, one thing that has come up very consistently over the last number of years as we've gone on this journey is that not believe, but know that the universe is always working in your favor. So even though things might seem not where you want them right now, like, you're dealing with some tough things, know that there's a reason for that, and that you get stronger through this, and that there is always help out there for you. You do not have to do this journey alone. That's why Road of Life, it's about a road trip, and it's about who you do the journey with. So lean into and find your people and hang on to them. And because community is everything.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Anything to add, Meredith?
Oh, I think he nailed it.
Perfect. Well, this has been absolutely phenomenal. Let's stay connected. If you have listened to this episode, you might have to go back, rewatch it again, get your pen and paper, take some notes. These 5 commitments, just hearing them, I know that I'm gonna have a conversation with my spouse today about these 5 things, and really lean into where can we get the help. And Meredith and Craig are right here. So if you can't do it yourself, definitely connect with them. First of all, they're amazing people. Just get to know them. Definitely, if you know someone that is, are looking for counseling or coaching or things like that, definitely tag them with Meredith and Craig as well. You guys have been absolutely phenomenal. Let's stay connected. Thank you all for joining us and listening to another episode of Building a Leadership Mindset podcast. And as I always say, make it count. Have a great one, everyone.